Brad Williams, ladies and gentlemen. Brad motherfucking Williams.
That's me. I'm sitting in your lovely apartment, surrounded by books, surrounded by knowledge, and I can't, like, have you read all these books?
No, of course not.
Okay, I was gonna say this would be. It's always something that I think we all dream about when we put a house together, an apartment together. Is you have the bookshelf with just lines of books, and you're just like, I'm gonna read all these one day, and you never do. You like, but
well,
it's impressive though.
It was my dream as a kid to live in to have my own library. In my house.
Dream accomplished.
Dream accomplished. And I've read probably 40%, maybe. Yeah.
That's still
maybe 50%.
That's still pretty damn good.
Still a lot.
It's good, and it's very impressive. And thank you for having me here. And thanks for pouring me a glass of sparkling water. Not that LaCroix shit.
No, I don't know. With only hipsters drink LaCroix and Pabst and shit like that. So how does it feel being surrounded by all this knowledge?
I like it. It's very intimidating. It's funny because someone asked me the other day, they're like, oh, what shows are you watching? And then they started thinking about all the shows that they watch, started listing off all the things that they're watching. And they said, okay, what shows do you watch? And I started listing them, and I go, oh, all mine are like comedy news or like some sort of news or some sort of learning something, some sort of how-to, like whether it be John Oliver or Hassan Minhaj or just PTI for sports. Like, I'm always learning something. Like, I'm always trying, like, whether it be current events or what's going on in the news or how-to. There's a couple cooking shows I watch. And then I go, wow, I'm not watching, like, I don't know what's happening on Fleabag. Or I don't know what's happening in these certain Netflix shows.
And all that shit.
I don't know.
Most comedians I know are all seekers of knowledge.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes with the thing of being a comedian and how you're always collecting material. Material comes from knowledge, and when you're able to throw out a reference that it's fun being on stage and you throw out a reference that you're like, oh, I saw this because I'm watching this one show. Or when you meet someone and you're doing crowd work and they say, oh, I'm from Canada, and you get to say, oh, so what do you think about Trudeau putting in that pipeline? And they're like, wait, what? How the fuck do you know that? And it's like, ha! Man of the world! Man of the world, Tom Rhodes.
The maple syrup mafia.
Yeah. And you can bring stuff up. Like, I like knowing that if I go to a bar or to a party or something, wherever someone says when they go, where are you from? They can say any city, pretty much, in the United States, and I can go, okay, and I could rat off like 3 facts about that city, or 3 things that are there, or what the people do, or what the popular jobs are. Like, it's nice to know that, to where you can kind of relate. I always tell people, I don't know a lot about anything, but I know a little bit about everything. So I can get by. I can just get by to where I don't sound like
bullshit your way through a dinner party.
Yeah, I can get by and not sound like a complete moron. Now don't get me wrong. I was listening to Joe Rogan podcast, and he's talking to Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not even close. I'm not anywhere near these people. But overall,
I love Rogan because he is like exploring things that most people don't know about. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson people know, but Rogan will have other like scientists and theorists and mathematicians and shit.
Fun. I became that guy that I made fun of as a kid. Like when I was growing up, my dad watched a lot of like learning programs on TV, and I always made fun of him. And then, because I thought, why wouldn't you watch something that entertains you? Like the stupid whatever reality shows or whatever. And then I got older, and now all I do is watch the learning shows. I became that guy, and now
you became your dad.
Yeah, we all do. That just means
I'm my dad.
That just means I'm also gonna go bald. I'm gonna get a couple DUIs and beat cancer. So hey, I look forward to that.
Think
life.
of the biography you're gonna have.
Oh, it's gonna be nuts. You look at events in your life, but now also as a comedian, you look at events in your life and you go, okay, that's the next stage. That's the next thing I'm going to be writing about. That's the next thing I'm going to be talking about. So when you kind of break it down like that, I'm like, oh man, I got so much more to do.
Well, like my favorite kind of comedy you learn stuff from, but what are like some of your favorite books? And
oh man, my favorite book is The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli, and I have
several copies of it.
Yeah, that's my favorite one,
really?
And I'm definitely a Machiavellian, which means the ends justify the means, which means I'm also kind of a piece of shit. I'm kind of a monster, because
you're not afraid to fuck somebody.
Yeah, if it's for the greater good, then I'm not afraid to make those choices. I also my mom once bought me a book about Machiavelli that was supposed to make me not become a Machiavellian. It was supposed to make me look at it and be like, oh, I'm a monster. I shouldn't do these things. And in fact, the book had the exact opposite effect. It made me go, oh, yes, I'm digging in. So my mom did this. This is a story. I don't think I've ever told this story on a podcast before. When I was in high school, my high school history teacher called in my mom to a conference and said, hey, I'm worried about Brad. What he's doing is he's not doing the work. He's surrounding himself by people that do the work for him. And then he knows he can talk, and they can't talk. So he presents the work. He looks it over the morning of, does the presentation, makes it entertaining, and then they all get a good grade. And I'm worried about him. My mom just paused.
He's a good leader.
He's the boss.
He's displaying leadership skills at a young age. What's the problem?
Yeah, that I always remember that that was supposed to be a negative thing, that I'm not grinding it out, and then I go no, so I can not grind it out, have plenty of other free time, and then just provide the thing that these kids can't do. They can't present. They can't make the presentation entertaining. I can do that. So yeah, that was something where that was the warning signs. And then she bought me that Machiavelli book, and then I read it. I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I should just keep doing this. Yeah, it's weird. I do Machiavelli things. I keep score. I'm obsessed with fairness, and that's not good for a relationship. Because relationships are not fair. So with my wife, I'll constantly be keeping track. I did the dishes this many times this week. You didn't. So therefore, the next 3, you've got them. And she goes, "What? No, that's not." You know what I mean? I'm obsessed with that kind of stuff, and I need to get better at it.
That's interesting because I try not to do that in relationships, but I'm definitely obsessed with fairness and upset by injustice.
Yeah.
And looking at your Wikipedia page, I was blown away to find out that you are also a Capricorn.
Yep.
Born on January 13th.
Yep.
My birthday is January 14th.
Look at that. We're two peas in a pod.
Capricorns are moody people,
okay.
Great leaders, great writers, and great thinkers.
Now,
Martin Luther King Jr., Elvis, Muhammad Ali, and Jesus.
All died young.
Okay.
So I look at that and I go, well, shit.
I thought you were going to be Cancer.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't. I don't know. That's the thing. Maybe where my dad succeeded, I will fail. And he'll be
I've got this full head of hair.
Yeah. It's exactly. So I'm doing everything the exact opposite. Yeah, that's a great company to be in. But then of course I look at all those people and be like, died young.
No, but I wonder if that obsession with justice and injustice. And keeping score has anything to do with being a Capricorn.
I don't know. I don't know if that's supposed to be like just a Libra thing. Glow. What's that?
Just call me Moonglow.
Oh, okay.
For bringing horoscopes into the podcast.
Yeah, I'm not a big horoscope guy, but my wife has this phrase that I really like. She says it all the time. She says, "Don't yuck my yum," which means hey, this thing makes me happy.
Yeah.
Don't tell me why it shouldn't make me happy. My wife watches TV shows that I think are stupid. They're horrible shows, and I don't think they should exist and they should be watched. But she watches it and she gets happiness from it. So who the fuck am I to tell you that you can't do that? You know what I mean? Like it's some people that listen to certain music and then people judge them, or they watched they watched the most recent Star Wars movie and they go, I thought it was really good, and everyone else goes, no, it sucked. You should hate it. You should have hate in your heart and in your life, and you should have negativity. You should have negative feelings toward this film. And you go, I don't know, I liked it. It brought me joy. Don't yuck my yum. You know, don't bring that part of my life down. So
don't yuck my yum.
I like that phrase. Because you start as you get older, you start realizing that all the things that you cared about when you were a kid, the things that you thought you were really important in terms of image. What music are you listening to? What clothes are you wearing? What car are you driving? It doesn't make any. It's not important. Like you get older, you go, oh, what's something that makes me happy? What makes me comfortable? Like for you, I'm looking around your apartment. You are surrounded by knowledge and music. Wonderful. You know, like you have knowledge in music, maybe, and you have some art.
I like to surround myself with $20 purchases.
Yes.
This is my empire of $20 purchases.
Nothing that's $120, but $20, I got a lot
Everything
of those.
in here costs $20.
Yeah. But like all this stuff, this makes you happy.
Yeah.
In my house, I have a room that's a lot of sports memorabilia. I buy it. That makes me happy. They have a signed helmet from so-and-so or a signed ball from some player.
Okay, you want to see something that makes me happy?
Yeah.
Something odd. So, I showed you the my wall of postcards.
Yes, the wall of postcards that you have of all the places.
And I found these old postcards at this flea market in LA. And then this just came in the mail. It's a Mark Twain postcard from the 30s.
Wow.
Yeah. So I just bought that like on eBay for like $5.
Done.
And it showed up, and I can't tell you how happy this makes me. And it's like it cost $5.
It makes that's great. You know, just
Mark Twain smoking a cigar, kicking it in.
It's art.
Connecticut.
You know, when some people go, oh, this painting is worth $50,000. This painting of the same size is worth $20. Great. If I could look at the $20 painting and be like, yeah, I like it. That's all that matters. You don't have to be like, it's my $20,000 painting. You know, it doesn't matter. Does it make you happy? I've seen a couple of Twain books in your library.
Yeah, there's my Twain section behind your
your
chair
the Twain
there.
section. Mark Twain.
Yeah, look at it. I see that there's a Mark Twain section. I got complete essays. I got almost everything.
Mark Twain is he has one of my favorite quotes that helps me with my joke writing, which is, and you probably know it. If I had more time, I would have written you a shorter book, and I love that quote. And when I'm trying to write material and write jokes and write tweets, I always write the thing and then I go, okay, what can I take out? How can I say the exact same thing, have the exact same effect, but have less words? And you find out that a lot of jokes actually get better as you take out all the excess fat and you trim it down to just what you need. I was talking with a young comic who asked me to watch his set, and I watched it, and he goes, any advice? And I go, yeah, when you tell this story, you don't need to know the color of your car. And he's like, but it comes, like, no, it's not important. It's not important to the joke. It doesn't do anything. And his excuse was like, well, but that's what happened in the story. I go, who's going to fact check you? Like, you're telling jokes. You're not writing a historical novel. It's fine. There's a lot of stuff that I talk about in my act that didn't really happen to me, but
Come on, you just ruined everything.
I'm not supposed to reveal.
I'll never be able to watch you again.
I'm not supposed to reveal the circuit, but like the thing is I write jokes where something happens to me, I go, wow, that was crazy that just happened to me. What would have been crazier is if this happened to me. And then that's how a joke begins for me. Like, it's like, wow, that was kind of cool, but it would have been really nuts if this would have happened. And then that becomes the joke. And then I listen to my boy Twain and I shorten it up. And that's So I'm really glad that you have a postcard of Mark Twain.
I'm a Mark Twain fanatic, and in my opinion, Mark Twain was the very first stand-up comedian.
Yeah, he's a humorist.
He invented comedy, I think 1866, when he did that first lecture in San Francisco. Here's a book that you should read.
Okay.
This is about Mark Twain's... well, look at that, just fell out. Mark Twain and the Russians.
Mark Twain and the Russians.
That's not what you should read. You should read this, Chasing the Last Laugh, which by Richard Zacks. Okay. How Mark Twain escaped debt and disgrace with a round-the-world comedy tour.
Look at that.
And he hated doing stand-up. Huh. He called it platform speaking. Oh. And he only did it because it paid the bills. He was a terrible businessman.
Yeah.
He lost everything in this typeset machine he thought all these newspapers were going to use.
Yeah.
And he went bankrupt, but he valued the opinion of his wife so much.
Yeah.
She was such a good Christian, she thought anyone who had debts should repay them. Oh. So even though he went bankrupt and didn't have to repay everyone, he paid back every single dollar that he owed to anybody.
Wow.
And he did it he went on this world tour for like
So he was the first
2 years.
He was the first comic to get a deal, have it go nuts. Because stand-up comedy clubs are littered with comedians that had shows, movies, everything. It dries up.
I'm one of them.
They get a divorce, and then they go, well, still got to pay the bills. So then they still go out and they still do it. Hopefully they do it and it still brings them some joy. Hopefully they still enjoy doing it.
Well, I do it because I love stand-up. I'm not doing it because there's no other option. You know?
Yeah.
And it wasn't my dream to have a sitcom that only lasted 6 months.
Or
a year.
The sitcom stories. The sitcom stories in terms of comedians, and this is when you get so mad at this business. There's so many stories out there of comics like getting a sitcom thinking, okay, this is it.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to be off to fame and fortune. I'm going to be driving Bugattis. I'm going to be doing blow off strippers' asses in Dubai. This is my life.
What NBA player thinks he's only going to have one season?
Right.
You know?
So I think my favorite one was the story of Dave Chappelle and Jim Brewer. They had a show together. It was a sitcom. It was good to go. There were billboards around LA promoting the sitcom. Jim had told everyone, I got a sitcom, and blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know why, but at the last minute, literally the day before it's supposed to premiere, they go, no sitcom. And what? I told everyone. There's billboards around Los Angeles saying I'm going to have a sitcom. And no, some new vice president came in that doesn't like that whole two funny people on TV thing. So, no sitcom. And I'm glad that I've heard those stories. So now if anything ever happens and I think okay, here we go, I don't get too excited. I get okay. Because no matter what, I've always said, I will always do stand-up comedy because that is the one thing they cannot take away from you. They cannot say, Tom Rhodes, you are no longer funny. Because if you work at it, you're funny. It's what you do. You go on stage, you make people laugh. I'm obsessed now with the woke culture. How people will hear a recording of a joke and be like, well, that's not funny. But on the recording, the room is laughing. And they go, well, that just proved you wrong. You cannot say something is not funny if it just made a room full of strangers laugh. You can't. You can't be like, well, everyone knows it's not funny. No, they don't. There are comedians you personally don't find funny. That's fine. But, let's say you hate Larry the Cable Guy. Okay. Larry the Cable Guy made a football stadium laugh with his jokes.
I just saw him. I was in Omaha a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah? You saw Dan?
And I started out with him in Florida.
No kidding?
Yeah, I mean, he was he started in South Florida. I started in Orlando. But, in those early years, there was tons of crappy one-nighters that we did there.
And he made
and Brian Regan was down there, and Jim Brewer, and Billy Gardell, and a lot of great comedians.
I love that. That's right. Yeah, and
Dan was a great guy.
Yeah, all these guys, like someone could say, like, right now the the Rotten Tomatoes score of Dave Chappelle's most recent special is at 0% because no critic wants to actually say that it's good. No actual critic.
You're kidding me. I thought it was his best special yet.
Thank you. You know,
his best special yet.
And people are like, well, the words that he said were not funny. They were hurtful. I'm like, no. They made a group of people, they made a room laugh. Laughter is an involuntary response. It's not calculated. It's not, you know, I mean, like, it's funny. My wife and I were walking the dog this morning, and she said a joke, and I didn't laugh at it. She goes, why didn't you laugh at my joke? I go, it wasn't funny. Like, if it was funny, I say plenty of jokes to her all the time that aren't funny, and she doesn't laugh at them. But but it's an involuntary response. So yeah, I'm not a fan of saying that something is not funny when a room full of people laugh. It doesn't make any sense to me because that's the ultimate proof that it is.
Yeah, and that Chappelle special, the thing he does about the LGBTQ community riding in the car together.
Yeah,
is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that I
and people are going to get upset by it, but it's like
yes. I watched the new Burr special in the same thing.
I think that's Bill's greatest special, and I wanted to talk to you about that. Like, it seems to me like, I mean, forget what the chattering monkeys are talking about. It seems like to me, it's such a golden age of comedy, and then here's these two guys,
top of the game,
Burr and Chappelle.
Yeah.
Who I already, put them at the top of my favorite comedians.
Yeah.
They just both raised the bar a little higher.
Yeah.
Both of those specials, I think, are absolutely genius.
Yeah. I love that there's a lot of people. Yeah. I love there's a lot of people right now that are doing, like, safe comedy, the comedy that you just throw out there. And it goes with the public opinion because you don't want to face the woke mafia. You don't want to be lambasted on Twitter. So you're doing things that fall in line. Now, to go on stage and say that Donald Trump is an idiot is almost hack at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's the safe thing to do. You know what I mean? Unless you're performing in certain areas of the country. But, I loved Burr's special, how he started off with a very not woke take. And then his next joke supports Colin Kaepernick. So you're like sitting there like he's getting both sides, which is perfect. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And I
love he's like my brother is fighting in Iraq.
Yeah.
It's not about that.
Yeah, like my brother fighting in Iraq. Okay, oh fuck. Okay, I guess I can't shout over you. It's fantastic, and I love both their specials for that reason. Chappelle's joke where he says, "Hey, I'm gonna do an impression. If you did one thing that I don't agree with, you can never work again." Who's that impression of? That's you. That's you, fuckers. I love that. I fucking love that. And the whole thing is now we're living in a society where everything is being catered to you. You can watch the news that you want to watch. You can watch the news that agrees with you. You can read books. There are Facebook algorithms that literally track what you click on, what you look at, and then they present articles and advertising and things that they think that you're going to like based on other things that you've watched. You can watch YouTube, and when you sign on, it says, here's other videos recommended for you. Netflix, everything is catered towards you. So comedy is this crazy thing now that is not catered to you. It's not. I mean, you could if you want. If you don't like cursing, you could watch certain clean comics. If you don't like urban comedy, you could avoid certain comics. But I love that people still have this idea that comedy should be catered to them. And it's like, no, there's enough room for all of us. You can have a Jim Gaffigan. You can have a Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, whomever. All these people that do different things. There's room for Carrot Top. All right, there's room for every type of comedy. And just because you don't like it and you don't agree with it, that doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. It's not dangerous. It just means that you didn't particularly enjoy it. That's fine. Go watch a sci-fi movie. Don't watch Remains of the Day or some
what kind of
classical
sad,
piece.
pathetic, lonely fucker is going to make that big of a stink out of seeing a comedian or a television program that they didn't like? It used to be you would write an angry letter to a company that had lost your luggage on a flight.
Well, that was too much work.
Yeah.
Now it's just tweets. I mean, I remember Andy Dick had a show on, I think it was MTV, and he did a sketch where he was like a dwarf wrangler. He had dwarves in cages. He was feeding them with a hamster like water bottle, and he was doing dwarf training. He was treating them like caged animals. Nothing made me more upset as a little person than to watch that. And you want to know what I did? I went, huh, that sucks. And then I turned it off. That's what I did. Nothing has made me more upset than that sketch. I met Andy Dick years later. Did I go to him and be like, I gotta settle your hash? No.
You didn't say nothing to him?
No. Yeah. I just said, all right, you went for something. You had an idea. Maybe it was funny. I didn't find it funny. But that's okay. You can try other things. It didn't. The dwarves that were in the sketch got paid. They were willing participants. They didn't. You didn't really drag them in on chains and put them in cages and they were forced to perform like dancing bears. No, everyone was consensual in the creation of this sketch. I just didn't like it, so it's fine. It can exist. Doesn't change my life. I don't get this. I don't get the thing where
I never found him that funny. I didn't know he had a show. I don't know why his name has been around and why he's been in the news. It's mostly for like sexual delinquency.
Yeah, and drug addict stuff. So that and that
he just got punched in New Orleans like last month.
I'm sure he did.
The guy gets punched very often.
Yeah, I was in a movie called Everyone Has an Andy Dick Story. It's a documentary that just goes around show business and they interview a bunch of people and they say, "What's your Andy Dick story?" And they tell people say their Andy Dick story because everyone has an Andy Dick story. Mine was that I got work. One of my first headlining gigs at the Brea Improv, I got because Andy Dick, night one, put his balls in someone's drink. Took his balls out, put them in someone's drink, and they fired him and went, well, we need a comic. And they called me up. And so I got my first headlining weekend at Brea Improv because Andy Dick put his balls in someone's drink. So that was my Andy Dick story. But everyone in this town, if you've worked here for more than 10 years or something, you probably have one. So that's why it's like, okay, that can exist. Every form of entertainment can exist as long as it doesn't physically harm people. Then it's fine. If people are out there saying we need to go actually put dwarves in cages, and then some people are listening to them, okay, well then we can talk about that. But if it's a sketch,
but the best revenge would be like if it seems like you've been and you work hard. You remind me of myself that you work your ass off. You'd rather be working than not working.
Yeah.
And it seems like the last couple of years, the Brad Williams rocket has caught in fire, and you've been taken off.
Yeah.
So when you're really massive and you got your own sketch show, I think you should do a sketch where Andy Dick is your caged animal.
Oh my God.
Where he's your personal pet.
Yeah.
To get back
I'll have him on the leash.
You could even show a clip from the
Remember this? Piece of shit. Your turn. Yeah, no, and to bring it all back, that kind of goes back to the Machiavelli part of me, where I do keep score, and I do have a sort of Richard Nixon enemies list, which I'm never gonna do anything with it. But I have a dream that one day that I'm gonna have a TV show, and then I'm gonna ask these people that are on this list to come audition for the show, and then I get to be in the room and tell them that they suck, and then turn them down. That's my fantasy. it's never going to happen. Even if I get a show, I'm not going to actually do that.
Did you ever see
But
this?
I think about it all the time.
Did you ever see this Argentinian movie called Wild Tales?
Probably not. No.
It came out a few years ago, and it's all these short films, but the first one is brilliant.
Okay.
All these people are on this airplane, and then they start talking, and they realize that, like, all of them have been invited on this plane, and someone else bought the plane ticket for them. And then they start talking, and then they realize they've all got this one guy in connection.
Oh.
And, like, ex-girlfriends, teachers, everybody had fucked this guy.
Oh.
At one point in his life, and he's now a pilot. And he's piloting the plane, and he's crashing it full of all these people that he hates. And the last scene is his parents are sitting in the yard, and they're like, they say something shitty about him, and like the plane is coming right at.
He crashes into their house.
He crashes it into his parents' house.
I love that.
And kills everyone he hates on the film.
I love that. What a great thing! And you just see them slowly. I'll
show it to you before you leave. It's only about 10 minutes long.
Oh, it is?
The first film is great.
Oh, I love that.
And it's a great opening of a film.
It's just nice when you have that moment is before you want your enemies to have that moment of, oh shit, I know who did this because I know what I did. You know, oh, it's awesome. I love stuff like that, and that's why Tom Rhodes, I'm a horrible human being, because because some people would hear that a sane person would hear that and go, oh, that's awful, and to keep that inside you for all that and the meticulous planning involved,
the plane option.
and going and all the steps that had to be taken to make that happen. You know, instead you could donate to charity, you can volunteer, you could do all these things. Like, that's what a normal person would think. I hear that and I go, that's fucking great. That's great. I fantasize about doing the exact same thing. Andy Dick might be on the plane.
That's perfect. I've got 3 copies of Machiavelli's The Prince, and look at this beauty.
3 copies. Now, why are you that guy?
Look at that. It's from 1930. This one.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
Why?
I bought that for €3.
Why do you have multiple copies of the same book?
When I'm in a used bookstore and I see something, it's almost like I feel like I don't want to abandon a friend. Like, look at this. This was only €3.
Okay.
So I bought that somewhere in Europe.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
I mean, look at that beautiful book for €3.
It is.
This is the beginning of chapter 4.
Okay.
Considering the difficulties there are in holding a newly acquired state, some may wonder how it came to pass that Alexander the Great became master of Asia in a few years, and hardly occupied it when he died, from which it might be supposed that the whole state would have rebelled. However, his successors maintained themselves in possession, and had no further difficulty in doing so than those which arose among themselves from their own ambitions.
Wow.
Okay, well,
you could read that right now and apply that exact phrase that you just said to the current political spectrum. I love that. And that's one of my favorite things about history is that if you find things out about history, you're like, "Oh, we're not evolving. We're just human beings are playing the same loop over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Making the same mistakes, doing the same things."
And that's the smart thing that Trump and the Republicans figured out, because most human beings don't want freedom, and most human beings don't want democracy.
They say they do.
Democracy only flourishes in special places at special times throughout human history. Mm-hmm. Most humans throughout history desire power and tyranny and oppression, and
or they desire to be led. They want to be led. They want to look at that person and be like, all right, you handle it. I'll just go in line with whatever you say. So that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And you hear that and you read that and you're like, oh fuck, we're just doing the same shit.
Nothing's changed.
We're just doing the same shit all over again. And you can do that so you can track things and look at how things are developing, going, oh, okay, here's the part where we do this the same way it happened back in this time. Like, you can almost track what's going to happen next. So I would love to talk to a historian that can look back through other...
You're talking to him.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. You.
What do you think all these books are?
Yeah. Yeah. So I would love to talk to then you and say like, okay, well then based on what you know about the past, what's going to happen now with the current administration? Does the pendulum swing back the complete other direction in an attempt to overcorrect? Do we continue down the path that we're continuing down? Does it meet somewhere in the middle? Does some voice come up from we don't know where that we all go, oh no, that person? Do we follow them? I don't know. These are all the questions that I would ask a historian.
Well, I mean, I was hopeful. I thought the pendulum might swing the other way. Like after Bush, we got Obama. So you figure after Trump, we would have a left-handed midget. Lesbian dwarf.
Yeah,
but
we'll have all that.
But I don't see it. I see the guy getting reelected and the surveillance state and
it's sad because
democracy's demise and
so it's all hopeful.
We're gonna get more gangster in third world.
Oh man. So
that's what I think.
Here's
I think all you can do is make money and put a gate around your house, but I can't afford a house.
It's so funny you say that
I only have a plastic baseball bat by my door.
It's so funny you say that. Is all we can do is make money and put a gate around your house, because that's literally, I tell that to my wife all the time, where it's like, hey, this world is going crazy, it's going to shit. Let's just make sure we're good. Let's make sure we're good.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, let's make sure we got the security system.
And create your own little army of humans that you program.
Hey, some call them humans that we program. Some call them fans. Whatever.
No, I was talking about children. I was trying to lead into...
children. Okay.
Well, before we get into that, I wanted to... Because you brought up a couple things.
Okay.
But before we get into the fact of your impending fatherhood...
Yes.
You mentioned when you starting out and Andy Dick putting his balls in someone's drink kind of helped you in the beginning.
Yeah.
For your first headline.
Sure.
I'm looking at the... I took a quick little peek at the Brad Williams Wikipedia.
Sure.
Is it true that you were in the audience at a Carlos Mencia show and he pulled you on stage?
Yes.
Wow.
That was very true. I was 19 years old. It was Father's Day in 20. Oh God, I'm 35 now, so that's 16 years ago. Father's Day, whatever that was, and I was in the audience. I brought my dad to see Mencia. I had seen his Comedy Central Presents, and he had done a lot of jokes that I knew my dad would like, so I brought him to the show. And and Mencia's on stage making midget jokes, and half the audience is laughing. The audience that's sitting by me is like, like all not laughing. And Mencia looks and goes, "Why aren't you guys laughing? These are funny jokes." He goes, "What? Is one of them here?" And I just raised my creepy little hand in the air like, "Hey, what's up?" And he called me up on stage that night, and he said, "I want to talk to you." And he started asking me questions. And I was 19. I was going to USC. I wasn't planning on being a comedian. And he started asking me questions. I answered the questions honestly. Wasn't trying to be funny. My answers got laughs from the audience, and that was it. That was the needle into the vein where I go, oh, okay, this is my life now, where I'm just gonna be doing this, because that feeling was so addictive and so amazing and so euphoric that I just wanted to do it again.
That's funny, because my dad took me to a comedy show when I was 11.
Yeah?
And the comedian pulled me on stage.
Really?
And that moment changed my life. So it's
wow.
Funny that you were
11?
I was 11.
Wow. Now why did he pull you on?
Well, I had a Washington Redskins jacket. My family's originally from Washington, D.C.
Okay.
My uncle did open mic nights for a year.
Okay.
This club, L. Brookman's in D.C., which was this comedy spot in D.C. in 1978.
Okay,
the entrance was next to the stage. And we walked in, the show was in progress, comedians on stage, I'm wearing a Washington Redskins jacket.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, "Hey, look, the coach from the Redskins is here."
Okay.
Pulls me on stage, and he interviewed me like I was the coach of the Redskins.
And you went, yes, and? And you...
Well, I mean, I was 11 and bashful. I was like, yes, no. But, like, I'll never forget that audience laughing and seeing all their happy heads thrown back in laughter.
Wow.
And it's funny. So that changed my life.
We have similar stories, my friend.
And you're both born on the same weekend.
Similar origin stories. Look at that. A comedian brings us on stage and... That happens to us, and now we become, like...
So were you... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, like, I was always... I loved comedy. I was always, like, in high school, I was in improv troupes and stuff like that, but I never thought it could be a job. I never thought it could be something that anyone actually did. I always thought, like, the vice president of show business just comes down and finds you you will be a comedian, like, you know, and then you get, like, assigned the work. Yeah, I never knew that it was something that anyone could actually ever do. But then once I saw Mencia that night, and then I went on stage and started getting laughs, I go, oh yeah, people could do this shit. Like, people could actually do this, and it's funny because the advice I give to people where they go like, I want to be a director. How do I become a director? I go, start directing things. They go, what do you mean? I go, just start doing it. You want to be a cinematographer? Start being a cinematographer. If you want to be a football coach in the NFL, start coaching football. Like, it's such a basic thing, but if you want to be a comedian, cool, start doing comedy. Go up, do open mic nights. Well, they're not paying you to do it. Doesn't fucking matter. They're not going to pay you to do it for a long time. So they're only going to pay you if you're good. So go up there and start doing it wherever you can, wherever there's an open mic, do it. And that's kind of what you figure out. At least that's what I figured out. Once I started doing comedy, it's like, oh, whatever you want to do in life, you just have to start doing it. If you want to be a writer, start writing. Like, it sounds so simple and so idiotic at the same time, but it's so true.
That's how you do it. I mean, especially now, if you wanted to be a filmmaker, I mean, you can film and edit on your phone.
Yeah.
It used to be...
Oh, you needed an edit bay? You need to rent studio time?
Yeah, and then like when they made digital cameras, that was like, oh, wow, now there's digital cameras. And now, fuck that. That's old. Phone. You can do it all on your phone now.
I edit videos for my Instagram. They take me 2 seconds, and I don't know how to edit anything. Like, it's crazy. And so now, you can make a rap album. You can make a music album in a band and just put it up online. See what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe, it's all you have to do is you have to just start doing the thing you want to do. And right now we're in a wonderful time where that's possible. Like you say, back in the day, you couldn't really just be like, all right, I'm going to be a director. Okay, I got to go rent a bunch of equipment from the school or whatever. It's a little harder. Now just take out your phone, start making videos, put them up on YouTube. Fine, good. Like, it's really kind of great, and that's really kind of amazing that you and I both started in that sort of same way. So when you got done after that moment, was it in your head where you're like, I'm gonna be a comedian? Did you start looking it up?
I never wanted to do anything. I knew it. My dad worshipped Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
So, I probably was in love with it before then.
Yeah.
Because it was important to my dad. Mm-hmm. Pryor was my dad's dude. I remember driving around listening to Pryor. But my dad also had vinyl comedy records. He had tons of Pryor and Bob Newhart, which is interesting. I think I think both Newhart and Pryor were very influential on me.
Yeah.
But my dad really revered stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And then from that moment onwards, I never wanted to do anything else.
It's great.
SNL came on like the year before, so the timing was perfect. I would watch SNL every weekend. I watched Johnny Carson Johnny Carson was my god.
Yeah.
And then I would look through the TV guide.
Yeah.
And see whenever there was a stand-up comedian on any of the talk shows.
Oh, no kidding.
Mike Douglas in the afternoon and
right. Now, see, kids who are listening to this, who now when you want to see, it's weird. Now, you want to see a stand-up comic, you just type their name into YouTube. You can see, you can go through every piece of work they've ever done in the course of an afternoon.
Yeah.
Like, I have fans now that have watched, I have 3 specials out and 2 albums. They consumed it all in a week. And then we're just like, okay, what else you got? It's like, I'm fucking working on it. Like, I'm trying. Like, it used to be like that, where you had to look up the TV guide and be like, all right, who's on Carson tonight? I used to go I used to buy comedy albums when I knew I had a girlfriend that used to live up in San Francisco, and I lived down in Orange County, and I would go drive up and visit her once a month. So before I would make the drive, I would buy like 2 or 3 comedy CDs and load them up in my car, and then all right, this is what I'm going to listen to the whole time. And now you don't have that. It's kind of madness that you can consume all the content so quickly, whereas you had to really search for it. Like going through a TV guide. And then like, when do you first start actually doing sets?
Well, in high school I hosted the pep rallies and the talent shows.
There you go.
And then I started when I was 17 doing open mic nights. February 4th, 1984.
Yeah, wow.
Orlando, Florida.
February 4th, 1984. That's not too. That's
And you were born in
84. That's less than a month after I was born. You did your first comedy set.
So you were born. Okay, I did. Okay, you were 1 month old when I started.
Yeah.
A little less. Yeah.
Do you feel old now?
No, actually, that's a little more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's like 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
You were 2.5 weeks old when I started doing stand-up.
Yep.
That's fucking beautiful. I don't feel old. I feel badass.
Oh, that's great.
I feel accomplished.
Good. You should.
So you mentioned your father a couple times.
Yeah.
Was he funny?
Yeah. He was always funny.
Because I kind of sensed that because we have such similar histories.
Yeah. He was.
I didn't realize we had so many things in common. And my dad was my hero, and he was always cracking jokes.
Mine as well.
And my dad was like a very knowledgeable dude. So
yeah.
So tell me about your relationship with your dad.
My dad was a lawyer.
He's no longer living?
No, he is. He is kicking. He is 75, and he's beat cancer, skin cancer once majorly, and a second time, like, it wasn't as bad, but he still beat it. He was a lawyer for 40-something years. Just a good dude, just a great guy. He has all these maxims that he would tell me and my sister, and we would live our lives by these sayings.
Like what?
You live your life by habits. So if you have good habits, you never have to worry about doing the right thing. You will just automatically always do the right thing. He would say that. Say things like the easiest thing in the world to do is to spend somebody else's money, which is kind of a political philosophy as well. For when my sister had her first kid, I wrote down all the maxims that I could remember that he said, and then I framed them and put them up in the kid's room. So when he's long gone, the kid can still look up and have that kind of knowledge that we had growing up.
Nice.
My dad, not a dwarf, not a little person. No one in my family is. But when he found out that I was going to be a little person, first of all, he went to these LPA meetings. They're Little People of America. And he would go and he would just sit. He wouldn't ask questions. He would just go and he would sit. And he would listen to all these people talk about dwarfism and how it affects their lives. And then one time he stood up and went, "Guys, I've been coming to these meetings now for about 2 months, and my son is about to be born. He's gonna be a dwarf. You guys have just complained the whole time. Is there anything good?"
We thought you were here to pick one of us up.
He goes,
"There's this guy hanging out in the back."
He goes, "Is there anything good? Is there anything positive about being a little person?" And one dwarf goes, "Yeah, everyone remembers you." And he goes, "Oh, okay." And he kind of stored that in the back of his head. And then, when I was growing up, his philosophy was he was going to make fun of me as a kid. But he did it in a very supportive way where he would make fun of me and then say, "Okay, now hit me back with something."
Wow, nice.
Because when you go and you go to school, kids are going to make fun of you, and you have to be ready. You have to be ready for the comebacks and that sort of life. So, by the time I got to a school, he inadvertently trained me to be a comedian.
That's brilliant.
Because now when someone heckles me, I go, "Oh, really? Like you're gonna yell Lucky Charms at me, and you don't think I have something?"
Right.
Like I've got those jokes chambered, my friend. So
What a loving, caring thing for your dad to do that even before you were born.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant that he did that. Dick Gregory died last year.
Yeah, Dick Gregory.
and he was one of the first. He was the first black comedian to play the Playboy circuit.
Yeah. Thank you, and Hugh Hefner.
They would do. There would be Southern automobile dealership owners and things. And he had his wife, I read this in his obituary, when he was ironing or getting ready for a show or just doing things around the house, he had his wife yell the most hate-filled racial slurs at him.
Wow.
So he wouldn't buckle when it happened at the club.
Yeah. Wow.
So your dad doing that in real life did
the same thing.
Is fucking what a loving genius thing.
Yeah, and that was his philosophy, was always to sort of make fun of me first, so nothing would ever phase me out. And he did similar things to my sister, because my sister's in the world of finance, and like a lot of things, it's a lot of male testosterone. Yeah. And she elevated to the place of partner, and one of the reasons why is because she said that all the other women that came in weren't used to being yelled at. So when they got yelled at, it freaked them out. They cried. They couldn't. They didn't have comebacks. It wrecked them. But she got yelled at, and she's like, oh, okay. It just, she's like, okay, that's what my dad did, so I'm good. But so he kind of did that for the both of us, and he kind of trained us that way. So now life wouldn't scare us, because we were already exposed to it in a positive way, where it was a game. My dad and I would play games where we would go back and insult each other back and forth, and we would have pun-offs where my mom serves fish, and then my dad and I just go, well, do you think this fish is up to scale? Do you think, are you going to eat it, or are you already finished? Just stupid, pun-offs like that.
Yeah.
And, he trained me to be a comedian without even knowing it. So that's the relationship I have with my dad, and now there's nothing he loves more than when he walks around and people know him now as hey, we saw your kid's special. He goes to Costco. He's the king of Costco. All the guys at Costco, they're fans of mine. So that they love him, and they know that he's my dad. The last time I did a show in my hometown, he brought 62 people in a party bus. He rented a party bus, and these 62 people hop on the party bus, and the desperate housewives of Orange County all show up, and they have a great time. So yeah, it's great. I have a fantastic relationship with my father, and you kind of touched on it. I'm hoping that I can instill that in my daughter, who is her birth is approaching very quickly. January 18th is when my daughter is due
Capricorn,
to be born.
baby.
Capricorn. So
well, that's beautiful about your father, man.
Yeah.
And my dad, he drove me to my first open mic night, and then I started out on the Southern circuits. He would get my schedule from me, and this is before internet, and computers and cell phones.
Yeah.
I'd be doing the Holiday Inn Lounge in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Nice.
And my dad would come walking in. Or in Troy, Alabama, or wherever.
Yeah.
And when I had my sitcom, my dad sat in the front row at every taping.
Fuck yeah. Dude.
And he had a hat made that said Tom's dad. He was so proud.
I love that. How great is that?
Beautiful. So it's cool that we have so much stuff in common. And before we move on to your daughter, the last thing I wanted to say about our connection.
Sure.
My father lived in Anaheim and loved Anaheim.
Yeah.
You are from Anaheim, and you grew up in Anaheim.
Yeah, I grew up in Fullerton, California, which is right next to Anaheim. My first job, and this was actually one of the things I said on stage the night that Mencia pulled me up, because he said, what do you do for a living? And at the time, I was working at Disneyland. So I said, I work at Disneyland. And the audience kind of laughed, and I turned to them and said, fuck you, I'm not one of the 7. And big
must
laugh.
have destroyed.
Yeah, big laugh. And that was the joke where I'm like, oh, shit. So yeah, I grew up, born and raised in Orange County.
And I grew up in Orlando near Disney World. So we both have this kind of this.
Did you ever work there? Did you ever work?
My brother and my sister worked.
Okay,
there.
yeah.
I never did.
I worked there as a character host.
You said it.
Not the character.
I was one of the 7.
Yeah. God, that would have been great. But I worked there as a character host. Now, a character host is not the person in the suit. The character host is sort of like the handler of the person in the suit. But it was also great.
So you had to wear a suit?
No. I wore just an outfit that was themed with whatever land I was in.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I was just help out with the character. So organize photo lines, help them, sign autographs, and then if the guests have any questions. But what was so funny about that time and why I loved it so much is I love doing improv, and with working at Disneyland, you're constantly in an improv, and it's always. You have to always, they had a phrase like, keep the magic. You could never break. So when they would...
Yes, and. The improv thing.
Yeah. So like...
What you mentioned before.
Yeah, so like some of the most fun stuff was when someone would be like, hey, so the guy in the suit, how much money does he make? And I'd be like, the guy in the suit, sir? The guy inside the suit. What suit? The guy in the goofy suit. Well... Goofy is in the goofy suit. He's wearing a suit right now, but he has different outfits. And then, no, the guy inside and I would just keep this going, and it would frustrate people so much. And but it was so much fun for me just to be like, what are you talking about? Ariel is a mermaid. That's why she has to go and go back, because we had to splash some water on her. Before she's like, no, well, you go back and you switch the Ariels out. It's a different one. I go, no, same Ariel. Just we gotta go splash some water on her, She has a little, she has some fish food, and then we splash some water on her, and then she can bring her right back out.
She's trying to rewrite She's trying to write a sequel.
Yeah. It was so much fun doing that and just making parents go nuts. So yeah, that's our Orange County connection as well. And then and that's where I lived for the longest time.
How do you think that influenced you? Like I think growing up in Orlando gave me, I don't know if that's where I got my eternal optimism from, but
I don't know if it's
I definitely kind of believe in fairy tales and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily optimism for me, but certainly being around Disney and working at Disney, I sort of have an appreciation for all performances, and whether it be like, and I suspend disbelief. So if you're up there doing your thing, great. I'll respect you. I will say, okay, I know that's BS, but I'm gonna watch you, and I will appreciate what you do. Whether that be the fact that I enjoy pro wrestling, and people are like, but it's fake. I go, yeah, I know. It's horror movies. Like it didn't really happen, but I like to jump in and get involved, and I respect the athleticism and the storytelling and all that. So whether it be that, whether it be going to a magic show and liking it, even though I know obviously there's a trick and there's probably a simple thing that's involved, I like that I'm fooled. I like that. So, and I think Disneyland really kind of helped me with that, to where, because you see all this quote-unquote magic happening, and then I started working there and I found out how the magic happens, and it didn't ruin it for me. It was more like, oh, that's so cool. You do this, you trick a person. Like, now that's why they believe this. That's why this appears this way. It was really great. So I think that's how it really influenced me, is that I'm able to get lost in things now. Like, I can get lost in things that I know are fake, but I still kind of, like, I can watch a movie and not think about the fact that it's an actor who's being paid to say a line. Like, I really get into the story. And
that's a better answer than I expected. And I think that's really beautiful. That you are willing to suspend disbelief.
Yeah, I mean,
and I think that's a better way of.
It's fun.
Yeah,
you have more fun that way. I would hate to watch a movie and watch for the little mistakes and watch for the, Like, how miserable of a life would you have to be where you go, well, this movie is taking place in the 1940s, but that billboard up there, that billboard didn't come out till the 1950s, so they kind of fucked up in that way. I'm smarter than you. No, you're a miserable fuck, and is what you are.
That's basically what you were saying people are doing with comedy specials earlier.
Yeah.
And that's it. Everyone's nitpicking.
They're
over
nitpicking, and just sit back, enjoy it, or don't enjoy it. But don't ruin it for everybody. Don't be that asshole that walks out in the middle of a magic show and be like, this is how they do the trick. No, fuck you. We don't want to know that. Don't tell me what's in my hot dog. I want to enjoy the fucking hot dog. All right? Don't yuck my yum. I put the hot dog in my mouth. It's great. But, you put some ketchup, you put some mustard. It's great. Don't tell me what's in it. Don't tell me there's pig noses.
Are you a ketchup hot dog guy?
No, I'm a mustard hot dog guy.
Okay, good. Wow.
No, I just said it because I don't know. I was rambling, but no, I'm straight brown mustard. I like brown mustard on a hot dog. There you go. Look at that.
Spicy brown with some onions.
I like that there are steakhouses where if you order your steak well done, they will not serve you. I like that there's hot dog places where when you go and put ketchup on it, they go, no. We don't want to ruin our hot dog. It's funny to me. I like that shit. There's certain cheesesteak places in Philly where if you be like, I want mine with some mozzarella, they go, no, that's not. It's not how we do it. Okay? We do it with provolone. We do it with whiz. We do it however we do it, and that's how you have to eat it. If you don't like it, that's fine. Don't shop here anymore. I love that attitude where it's like you don't have to like my shit. You can come see my comedy. If you don't like my comedy, that's fine. I'm not gonna stop doing my comedy because you don't like it. You can go find another comedian that you like. It's fun that way.
What's one of the best laughs you ever had with your dad? Or God. One of his best jokes that he would nail you with?
Oh, the funniest.
I remember when I was a little kid, my dad would go, do you know what burns my ass, Tom? No, what, Dad? No, really, do you know what burns my ass? No, what, Daddy? Flame this high. And
just always made me
I
laugh.
heard the joke 100 times. It made me laugh every time he would do it. And he'd get so serious.
God.
It was the way he acted it out. No, seriously. Do you know what burns my ass?
You just keep drilling it.
What, Daddy? What, Daddy?
There's a few. One, so if you drive from Los Angeles or Orange County to San Diego.
The Mexican family running across the
No, the nuclear power plant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you know it.
Yeah.
So it's on the side. It's by the beach, and it looks like two giant tits.
Yeah.
Okay. And every time we would drive, we have family in San Diego. We would make this drive a few times a year. Every time we would make this drive and pass that nuclear power plant, you would look over and be like, "Hey kids, check it out! Dolly Parton's just laying there on the beach and enjoying the sun." Now the joke updated because later in my life it became, "Hey kids, check out Pamela Anderson just on the beach hanging out."
At least he updated the act.
Yeah, he updated the act. He didn't want to be that guy who's going on stage in 2019 doing Ronald Reagan impressions.
Talking about VHS tapes.
Yeah, so and so now to this day, every time I drive by that thing, even if I'm by myself in the car,
you'll laugh.
I laugh and I have to say the joke.
Yeah.
I have to say it. I have to say, "Hey, look, kids, Pamela Anderson on the beach." I have to say it. It's a weird, it's a weird thing. But the hardest I ever laughed at one of my dad's jokes is my mom served us dinner, and my dad didn't want the dinner. He said, "I don't want the whatever. I just want mashed potatoes. I just want a big plate of mashed potatoes tonight. It's what I want. It's what I'm feeling." And so my mom goes, "Okay, whatever," and serves us our dinner. Serves him a big plate. All on the plate is mashed potatoes. She goes, "You want some gravy?" He goes, "Yeah, well, I want some gravy." He gets some gravy, pours it on the mashed potatoes, and we all sit down at the table. We're all gonna eat together as a family, and my dad just looks at my sister and I and goes, "I'm tired." Face plants into the mashed potatoes. Just did this Huge face planted on the mashed potatoes. Gravy goes everywhere. Potatoes goes everywhere. My mom's freaking out. Oh, Pete, what are you doing? You spilled mashed potatoes everywhere.
How old were you?
Oh, God, I had to be maybe 6 or 7.
What a commitment to the joke. Oh. Your dad just screamed.
And just goes down. Mashed potatoes fly everywhere. He comes up a few minutes later. He's got mashed potatoes and gravy all over his face. I laughed so hard. I cannot, to this day, I don't know if I can remember laughing at something that hard. It was just so funny to me. And like you say, the commitment to the bit.
The commitment, baby.
You got to do it.
I just want a big plate of mashed potatoes.
And the fact that my mom didn't know.
It's the commitment.
My mom didn't know.
I've worked hard.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
That's all I want. I had a long day at work. I kept some I kept some good guys out of jail today. Probably kept some bad guys out of jail too. But I just want some mashed potatoes. Bam! Flop right in the mashed potatoes. And I love that. I love the commitment to the bit. I love that he did it with the there's not a big audience there. There's not a theater full of people. He goes, you know what I'm going to do to make my son and my daughter laugh tonight? This. And I think that's a wonderful, pure thought as a father to have. Is just, I'm just going to do this stupid thing. Why? It makes my kids happy. That's what I'm going to do. And I love that. And I hope I can have that as well. Like, just have those. I'm sure I will. Because I don't know if you do this, but like, do you ever, when you're on a text conversation with a friend or another comedian, do you ever like sit down and like really plan out the text or like think about the joke or find the scroll through GIFs to find the perfect GIF or the perfect meme that's good for the joke? I do that shit all the time. I'm like straining over an audience of one. Just like I have one friend who I'm texting with, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna say this, and it's really gonna be really funny, and then I'm gonna, I do that kind of shit all the time. So I know that I'm gonna do a bunch of weird stuff that's just gonna make my daughter laugh, and I'm gonna be totally cool with that.
My dad did one of the coolest things for me, and I love comedy and I love baseball.
Yeah. Okay.
Because my dad.
Great.
And I grew up in Orlando with spring training.
Oh yeah.
My father used to take me out of school to go see baseball games.
I love that.
In the daytime to play hooky with my dad.
Great.
So there's all kinds of stuff like that that I look forward to, hopefully, if I ever have a kid.
How great is that? Because some people say like, oh, took you out of school.
Taught me how to be a criminal.
Yeah. Like what? So you can learn, like what stupid shit were you going to learn that day? Were you going to sing a song? Were you going to say the pledge again? Were you going to, like, like, would you rather go through that one more day of whatever school? Or would you like to create that memory that you still talk about fondly years later? Like, how amazing is that he did that?
My dad's one of the greatest influences on my life. And I'll use this to transition into your fatherhood thing. Yeah. And I've always said that if I could have half the relationship with a child that I had with my father, I'd be the happiest guy on the planet.
I can't.
Because I was really close with my dad, and he cracked me up. And
I can't wait.
You know, he had issues, but I didn't pass judgment on him.
Sure, we all do. It's fine.
It sounds like you had a great relationship with your father.
Fantastic.
So you're in turn going to be a great father.
Yeah, I hope so, man. My wife is pregnant. We're giving birth due date is January 18th. We're having a baby girl, and I cannot wait. Because I look forward, and just talking about these old moments with my dad is making me go, oh my God, I'm gonna get chances to do this with. I'm gonna be that person to someone.
Look out, mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that at some point.
You're gonna be looking at your watch, waiting until she's 6.
Yeah. So here we go. I can do the mashed potato bit. I can pass it on.
But now, before we talk about what's going to be your approach to fatherhood, I got to tell you, I think I got divorced this year, and just in the last couple months, I met an amazing woman.
There you go.
Who I'm very happy with at the moment.
Good.
I told her the other night I saw you at the Comedy Store, and I mean it. I'm happy for you, but at the same time I'm envious that you're having a kid. I would really love that. And I told my new girlfriend the story of how you met your wife. And her reaction was, oh, that's so romantic.
Oh, look at that.
And I thought, wow, that really, I thought...
I did not see that one coming.
So for the listener, you want to give us a quick because you say it on stage.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not.
Tell us how you met your wife.
I met my wife in San Francisco, California. I was doing a radio show up there, and I was on a dating app that used to be called...
Okay, wait a minute. Because I saw you do this the other night.
Okay.
And I've heard you tell the story about meeting your wife.
Yeah.
But one thing that you added the other night that I had never heard. Oh. You said there's Tinder and Grindr.
Oh, that thing. Okay,
and
I'll do that part.
You said you were fucking trying both.
Yeah, so...
Because you're a go-getter.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I was on a morning radio show, and I moved up to San Francisco, California to do this morning radio show. I did not know anyone in San Francisco. I had no friends. I wanted to meet people. So we played a game on the air so I can meet people. The game is called Tinder or Grindr. Every day I would flip a coin. Based on what it lands on, I go on either a Tinder date or a Grindr date that night. Grindr is gay Tinder. I am not gay. But, like you say, I'm a go-getter. So I flip the coin day one. It lands on Grindr. I go, okay, and I had to go on a Grindr date. It's for the station. I had to do it. Made a profile. Went on matched up with a lovely man, large, redheaded, beard. Told me only to call him Ginger Bear. His name was Ginger Bear. He said, you will call me Ginger Bear. And I went, all right, Ginger Bear, meet Gummy Bear. Let's do this shit. And we went on a date. It was great. It was awesome.
He was a gentleman.
He was a gentleman. He told me I was handsome. We went to a sports bar on a date. We would talk, and then during the silences, we would look up and watch a game, and then be like, oh, the thing just happened. It was one of the best fucking dates I've ever been on. I'd highly advise it. Straight, gay, whatever. Go out and have yourself a time. So the next day we're gonna go and I'm gonna talk about the date on the air, and I'm talking about the date, and someone calls in and goes, "Okay, you guys doing Tinder or Grindr? You guys should try to go on Thrinder." And I go, "What the fuck is that?" And that's Tinder for people trying to have threesomes. And I go, "All right." And by the way, that's the sound of every person listening to this podcast if they're driving, screeching and slamming on the brakes, trying to download this app. Just so you know, I'm not joking with you. It's not called Thrinder anymore. Now it's called Field, F-E-E-L-D. You're welcome. So I go on Field. I match up with two women. We're all going to go out together on a date. One of the women doesn't show up on the date. And I called the other one and said, hey, this one's not showing up. Do you want to still do the date? She goes, yeah. So we go out on the date with the knowledge of, like, we're going to meet. We're going to determine that we're not psychotic, and we're going to go back to probably her place, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We never made it to her place. We just stayed on the date, and 2 years after that date, I proposed to that woman. That's how I met my wife, on a threesome dating site.
That's beautiful. So the other person didn't show up, and then you guys turned it into like a nice romantic evening.
And we were both...
Maybe Ginger Bear got you in the mood to be... Maybe he
got me sexual, got me charged up.
He tweaked your romanticism.
Oh, I have no doubt. Props to Ginger Bear.
And your self-esteem.
Yeah, feeling good about myself. Yeah, I can go out with a hot Asian woman. That's fine. So yeah, we went on that date, and it's funny because when we went on the date, we were all about all right, this is gonna be wham bam, thank you ma'am, this is gonna be fuck 'em and chuck 'em, this is gonna be all that, and then on the date, and we both had that mindset. We both talked about it beforehand. We'd sent a couple texts. We're like, yeah, so we're gonna do
I don't think many people are getting on the threesome dating app to look for a relationship.
Yeah, no, she had just come out of one. I was not in the place for one. So it was like, there's no way this is actually happening. And then we got on the date, and we just, during the pleasantries, I remember listening to this woman talk and going, oh, you're really interesting. Like, you have a really... And I've dated some really attractive women before, but I didn't like talking to them. They weren't interesting. That's the most important thing you can be in any relationship, friendship, work relationship. Be interesting. Be someone where I want to have a conversation with you. I can't wait to bring up a certain topic to you because I want to know what your take is on that topic. I want to discuss it with you. Maybe I'll learn something. She was interesting, and I just kept talking to her. And then on that first date, I was just like, all right, well, I made that choice. I'm like, I'm not having sex tonight because if I have sex with this woman, I'll never see her again. And I don't want that to happen. So I'm holding out. And apparently, I found out later she had the same thought because there was never even an attempt. There was no attempt at like, so can I come up or whatever? Like there was none of that. There was, here's my number. Let's do this again real soon. And we did, and then we did, and then we did, and then we haven't stopped since. And
so for someone who likes to work as much as you do, how did you keep the connection with her in those 2 years?
Well, it's funny because I lived in San Francisco, and she was working graveyard shifts. So we had a window from like 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. That was our window for date night. We had to like go out, grab dinner, bang out if we were gonna do that, and that was it. Because she had to get ready to go to graveyard shift, I had to get ready to go do sets, and or when I was living in San Francisco, go to bed because I had to wake up early to do the morning show the next day. So that, and then once I quit the radio show and I'm gonna move back to LA and I'm gonna just do stand up. I actually broke up with her. I actually told her, I said, hey, this is amazing. I'm loving this, but I'm moving back to LA. I don't want to do long distance. You have weird graveyard shift hours. It wouldn't work.
What kind of work was she doing?
She's a behavioral therapist. So she goes to the homes of people with autism and she runs programs with them and so they can function on a more bless you, on a more quote unquote normal basis, as they can get by. And she was working graveyard shift where she would go to this house that housed like 6 autistic adults, and she would just be there to help them and run programs and be there if they needed anything. So yeah, when I moved to LA, I was like, all right, I didn't want to do the whole long distance thing, and I broke up with her. I said, so it's not going to work. We just end it while we're still both friends and happy and everything like that. So I broke up with her, and she looked at me and went, no, I don't accept that. And I was like, all right. And I just agreed with her. I said, yeah, you're right. We shouldn't break up. And we didn't. Thank God. And then we got married, and then we started trying for kids, and then thankfully now that's going to happen.
You were actually trying.
Yeah.
Great.
We were trying. It's great. It's the best. I'm so glad the first time I heard the words I'm pregnant, I was like, yeah. Like we were actually trying to do that, It's a wonderful thing that you can do, that you can look forward to. I was cheesy as hell. We had the test. She didn't want to look at it. She's like, I'm too nervous. I can't look at the test.
Whatever. It's going to be a boy or girl.
Pregnant or not pregnant.
Oh.
Yeah, so like the test you pee on. And so I was like, all right, I'll look at it. So I looked at it. The thing said pregnant, and then I had something queued up in my phone just in case this happened. So I did it. I hit play, and it was Creed's song "With Arms Wide Open" because the song
it's about
starts.
Being a father,
yeah, because the song starts off. Well, I just heard the news today. It seems my life is gonna change, and she starts like crying, and at the same time you're like, "Fuck you, that's so cheesy," and it was just so funny to me. And that's how we found out, man. It's great. I'm so glad that, and that's the thing too. I was a notorious bachelor. I was single. I'm good. I was notoriously single. I was a quote unquote womanizer, whatever, and then. I started dating my wife and married my wife and everything, and I had friends being like, "Why? What are you doing? Like you were killing it on the road, being single, doing your thing." And I looked at him and I go, "That's the mother of my children." That's when I knew. I knew that when I looked at her as compassionate she is, as intelligent as she is, as silly as she is, and then that she's a behavioral therapist, I go, "Yeah, that's who you will have as a mom." That's a mom right there. And, so now, like, She cooks. We sit down to have dinner together the same way I sat down with my family to have dinner together. The same way I'm going to be sitting down with my daughter and my wife to have dinner together. It's just so she checked all the boxes. Have boxes, and when they get checked off, and when that's the mother of your kids, you go, okay, I'm up. I'm done. I'm hanging up the shoes. Retire my bachelor jersey to the rafters, and I'm good.
Retire the number.
I'm good. And then right after I got married, all the Me Too stuff started happening, and I started going, okay, I got out at the exact right time. I got out. I'm good. No one's gonna be taking screenshots of my texts. I'm fantastic. This is great.
So and you took the test to find out if it was boy or girl?
Yep.
So do you have a name already?
Yeah, we have a name. I won't say it on this. I want to have some, because my whole thing is like, I've chosen the life of being a public figure.
Yeah.
My daughter has not. So I'm sure at some point you'll be able to Google it and find it. But if you're searching for my daughter's name, you're kind of weird. Yeah. Why would you want that?
That's respectable.
But I will say,
I have a litany of thousands of name choices.
For
if I ever have kids.
Oh well, here's the thing. So I'll say this much: the name is after a certain celebrity that, and I won't say the celebrity, but now.
Zelda?
Sure.
I'm trying to think of a video.
Mario? Yeah. But the question is, and the fear is that will this celebrity ruin this fucking name? I hope not. Because, and I say this kind of as a joke on stage, but I go, you know there was some guy who 10 years ago was like, I just had my son. I named him after my favorite comedian. Say hello to Cosby. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now that's a thing that where they go, well, I named
there probably is someone named Cosby.
There is, and he kind of fucked that up. So you hope there's little girls out there that were named ISIS before we found out ISIS was a terrorist organization. There's that. So I'm hoping that the celebrity doesn't fuck up. I don't think that they will, but who knows? Cosby was America's dad.
So is there anything that worries you about fatherhood? Or
Sure.
I think if you took your dad's approach, if I took my dad's approach, there's really nothing to worry about. Even if you were broke.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing. I know we're gonna be fine. My wife the other day was like, I don't know, are we gonna be good parents? Are we gonna be good parents? And I looked at her and said, yes, because we're having this conversation about if we're gonna be good parents or not. Bad parents don't have this conversation. Just go, I'll fucking do something. I'll wing it. I'll figure it out. We're reading books. We're planning.
I would imagine
classes.
The biggest issue would be I was saying how did you keep that connection with your relationship? How much time do you go on the road when you have a kid?
Yeah. It's
not
gonna
miss
be
the teeth coming in.
Yeah, it's gonna be that thing. And I've talked to other comics about it. I can't believe I'm about to say this sentence, but it's strange that it's true. But I'm friends with Dana Carvey, who I looked up to.
I love Dana Carvey. What a great father he is.
And that's
great
the thing,
relationship with his sons.
He kind of backed off a little bit. Probably, I think Dana Carvey is one of the funniest fucking people ever to live, and he made a conscious effort to not do as many movies, not have a TV show. He was gonna have a talk show at some point, and he was like, "No, I'm good," and he backed out just so he can be there for his kids. And I have another friend who is a comedian who will remain nameless because what I'm about to say isn't exactly positive. I love this person, but he said something that scared me. He goes, "I don't remember the first 7 years of my daughter's life."
Well,
and I'm like, "Well, shit. I don't want that."
Yeah.
I don't want that at all. So I'm gonna
pay the bills and keep that connection.
Yeah. So I'm gonna try to be, and it's one of the reasons why so my podcast, the About Last Night podcast, we're coming up on 500 episodes, and at 500,
I'd love to do it.
Well, at 500 we're stopping. That's the thing. I'm stopping.
Okay.
And I'm stopping because that's one more thing that I don't want to have to be thinking about when I get home from the road.
Right.
So I'm gonna tour 3 weeks a month, and then when I'm home, I'm home. I'll Rogan told me, he's like, yeah, dude, people say, like, how do you do stand-up and be a father? It's easy. I put my kids to bed at 8 or 9, and then I go out and I do sets. Like, it's fine. Like, that part's fine.
Yeah.
And I go, okay. So, as long as I can be present while I'm home. Like, I'm taking 3 months off when my daughter's going to be born. I'm going to take a little paternity leave. Unpaid. That's the thing about being.
It'll probably be one of the most creative periods of your life. I bet it's going to be really inspiring.
And I just want to be there. I just want to be there, and I want to be there as much as possible. And when I'm not on the road, I want to be like, it's. I'm amazed now, and knowing the relationships that both you and I have with our fathers, and knowing the relationship I want to have with my daughter, I'm stunned and amazed that any man could have a child and then just go deuces,
what the fuck off.
Yeah. And leave. I'm amazed at that. I don't have a lot of things that truly anger me. Like if someone has slightly different political views than me at a party, okay, that's all right. You're probably still a good person. Like, as long as you're a good person, you can believe certain things or not believe certain things, and that's fine. You're a good person, you pay your taxes, you love your family, you're not hurting people, fine. I have a few pet peeves that, like, if I find out someone does something or believes something, I'm like, no, we cannot be friends. And one of those is deadbeat dad. Like, I cannot fathom the person that just goes, yeah, I see my kid like every couple years or whatever. I'm like, no, that's not an option. That's not an option. God forbid that things don't work out with my wife and I.
And that's what fucks people up for life.
There's no possible way that I could then just be like, okay, well, you take the kid, I'm going to go my way, and bye, have fun. Like, it's not going to happen. My daughter's not even born yet, and I know that. Like, so, yeah, that's one of those pet peeve things. And I guess that's the pressure of being a dad, knowing that you have the power to fuck someone's life up. That you could make that if you make a wrong decision or if you leave, like, you could, like, we all know people, we're comedians. We definitely know people with daddy issues. And yeah, what it does to people. Like,
I had an Uber driver last night. He was telling me his story.
Yeah.
And he's got a daughter, and he said that his wife, 4 months after the kid was born, decided she didn't want to be married anymore.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that was an inopportune time to break up the family.
Yeah.
Kid's 4 months old.
4 months old,
and,
you can't.
And it's the mother? Usually it's the father.
Yeah, usually it's the dad that just.
hot feet.
Yeah. It's heartbreaking. You hear stuff like that, and you're just like, that cannot happen. I've told my wife, I go, yeah, we're having this kid, so we're in each other's lives, till the end. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm that guy that goes, like, yeah, you stay together for the kid, or you appear to stay together for the kid as long as there's no physical danger that you're in.
Well, I did something I read years ago.
Yeah.
A maxim. I don't know who said it, but the greatest gift a father could ever give to his child.
Yeah.
Is to love their mother.
Yeah. And
that, like, their whole worldview
is all based on that.
Will be solid and not screwy.
They will have a positive relationship. They will know that relationships are good. You will be the example, and especially that I'm having a daughter, I have to love her mother. I have to outwardly say it. I have to do it in front of her.
Be demonstrative.
So she sees that, oh, that's what a loving partner is. Because if I'm abusive...
Or the kind of guy she's going to want to marry in the future.
Exactly.
That was a loving person and not a fucking douche or violent or verbally abusive.
Right, because if you're that guy, then they go, oh, that's the norm. That's what men are. And, like, my wife didn't have a lot of those positive male role models in her life. So when I came around, she was uncomfortable at the first time that we had Christmas over at my family's house. She's like, what's wrong with you people? And we're like, what are you talking about? She goes, everyone's happy. Like, no one's crying. No one's running out and screaming. There's no tears. There's no fights. There's no nothing. Everyone's just giving gifts to each other and laughing and waiting as someone opens their gift before they open. And, like, Yeah, like it tripped her out, and now she kind of knows that she's married a different kind of person than the men that have previously been in her life. So that I'm not leaving. I'm not ditching. I'm not like I'll leave for a weekend to go hammer a check to bring back to provide, but that's about it. That's the only time, you know. So I'm looking forward to it. And it's like I kind of said, the fact that I'm having these conversations and having these thoughts means I know that okay, I'm gonna be all right. I'm gonna be okay. My daughter's gonna be okay.
Well, you've always seemed like a happy dude. Now it seems like you have a happiness that can't be taken away from you.
Yeah, you know. And thank you. I try to be a happy dude sometimes, and sometimes I try to. I think that you can if you fake being happy, you can sometimes trick yourself into being happy. Like if you just kind of go, yeah, that kind of sucked, that thing that happened today, but I'm just gonna smile about it. I'm gonna say nice things to people. I'm gonna put on a happy face. Sometimes you'll trick yourself into being happy. Now, you know, so sometimes I do that. Sometimes, even when things aren't going right, I'll go to the Comedy Store and just hang out with comedians who always make me laugh.
Yeah.
Who always make me happy. Who, even when they're shitting on me, will make me laugh. And it's just a positive environment, and that's where I go.
I did 2 sets at the Comedy Store last night. I was done at 10:30.
Yeah.
And I stayed there till 1:00, just watching friends,
watching comedy,
watching dudes doing sets.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a new hunk of material.
Yeah.
Oh, and that guy's kind of leaning on the same material.
Right.
Oh, wow, this guy's got a whole new fucking bit.
Yeah. It's cool. It's so fun to watch. It's fun to watch the creative process, and yeah, we see so many comics go up at the Comedy Store that then we know when they've changed something. We know, like, oh, look at that, you fucking updated something, and that you have a different take, or you figured this wording out. You know, it's really cool to watch it happen, and I know that no matter what's going on at home. I can always go to the Improv, the Comedy Store, wherever, and still just kind of, that's my safe space. It's weird that our safe space is the space that some people are so triggered by. Like the thing where they hear a word or a joke or a thing and then they go, oh my God, no, I'm having all these horrible thoughts. That's where we go to be like, cool. Now I'm back at zero. Like I'm back to normal. It's crazy.
Are you still friends with Mencia?
Yeah. It's weird. I'm friends.
Does he let you drive the choppers?
The motorcycles. Yeah.
I remember seeing his MTV Cribs, and he had like
a
dozen.
Yeah. He had a lot of bikes.
Choppers.
Yeah, a lot of bikes. There's a bike. One of his bikes. It was after a certain tour, so all the comics that were on the tour. They have a skull on the bike that is representative of them. So on this same tour, this is crazy when you think about this tour now in terms of what all these people are doing. One time, these were Mencia's opening acts, okay? It was me. It was Cristela Alonso, who now has had a show on NBC and a Netflix special and is doing just really amazing things, is so damn talented. And Joe Coy. We were the 3 opening acts.
Wow.
Which is crazy. Joe Coy just had the Netflix special and sells out arenas in certain markets. That's madness. So yeah, I'm still friends with him, and it's weird. I'm the guy that's friends with all the comics that don't like each other. Like I was in Denver a few weeks ago and had breakfast with Rogan, and we walked around. You know, Denver, it was me, Joe Rogan, Andrew Santino, and another comic that I don't remember her name. Allie, not Wong, but white girl, nose ring. Fuck, she was so funny. But we had a great day. Like I won't say other comics that are feuding, but I'm friends with both of them. You know what I mean? It's strange. It's strange to be friends with the people on both sides, but at the same time, it's kind of like what I said earlier, where I can meet someone at a party that maybe doesn't have the same views on gun control that I do, but it doesn't mean they're a horrible human being that should never be talked to and they don't have good qualities. They have they have great qualities. They're good humans. They care about their family. They care for their friends. Great. I can get along with you.
And you can only judge people how they are with you also, Yeah. There's loads of people I heard were douches in this business.
Yeah.
That were lovely to me. And then on the other side of that coin, people who you hear are fucking wonderful. And, and they're a douche to you.
Yeah, and you go, okay, well, you're. I know that you're voted, nicest comic or whatever, but then you're a dick to me. So, all right, I can't be around you. I'm not gonna try to force this. So, and that's another thing you realize as you get older is you don't. I don't know. I only have so many friends. I don't have time to make new friends and certainly not new friends that I don't actually like. Because when you were a kid, you were forced to hang out with certain kids because they were in your class or they were in your age group or your parents were friends.
Right.
Now you become an adult, you're like, oh yeah, I don't have to hang out with you. I don't have to. I'm here in your apartment right now because I like you. Whenever I see you on stage at the Comedy Store, I go, fucking Tom, all right, killing it. Doing great.
That's how I feel about you. Like, if I'm walking through there and you're on, I'll stop and look.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh my God, it's my buddy. I want to see what he's doing. Oh, wow, he's got a new hunk.
Yeah, got a new bit, and it's always fun, and you're always positive in the hallway. So, yeah, there are certain other people that are more famous than you who have asked me to be on their podcast, and I go, nah, I'm good. I don't want to hang out with you for an hour. And it's just that thing where as you get older, you kind of,
don't have time for douchebags.
Yeah, it's the Mark Twain quote, but as a life philosophy, where if I had more time, I would have written you a shorter joke. You're just trimming the fat. And if it doesn't make you happy, whatever.
But I also think that I've always thought this my whole life, that you can only judge people in two categories, and it's family, friends, anybody. Mm-hmm. There's people who give you energy, and there's people who suck energy away from you.
Yeah.
And you always give me energy. I'm always happy to see you.
Yeah.
I've never been like, oh, there's that fucking energy sucker.
Fuck. There's Brad. I gotta walk to this side of the Comedy Store so he doesn't see me. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, I see how people treat their family. I see how people treat their friends, and I'll add one more category to that: how they treat staff.
Yeah.
Whether it be waiters and waitresses.
Yeah.
Or people that they, or maybe the person who gets them their coffee, the person who works at the front desk at their building, how you treat those people. How you treat the people that you don't that you don't quote unquote have to treat well, because they can't do anything to you or whatever, or do anything for you. I want to see how you treat those people. I've definitely lost friends because they were dicks to waiters.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I've definitely been like, I'm not going to hang out with you anymore because you sent your plate back 3 times and you yelled at the poor waiter when the waiter didn't fuck up like it was it was something else, and also you just brought it up in a way that shouldn't have been done. Or if a certain person it's every comedy club I go to, I ask them, who are your favorites? Who are your least favorites? And I'll say this. Different names pop up on the favorites list all the time. Well, except for the one guy that's always on the favorite list is Bert Kreischer. He's on everyone's favorite list, which is great. He's a great guy. I love hanging out with Bert. But the same names pop up on the we don't like this person list. The same names. I can tell you the same 5 comics that every comedy club doesn't like. And it's because they don't treat the staff well. They're not, even if they do well on stage, they're not friendly they don't tip the staff. They don't let people into their dressing room. They're dicks to the opening acts or whatever. The same 5 people. Now, if you ask those 5 people, why is this? What I'm curious, what would they say?
Their dad never fell into the mashed potatoes.
Their dad never
took them out of school to go to a baseball game.
Yeah, their dad never fell in the mashed potatoes. That's going to be the title of my fucking book, Tom Rhodes.
Good, and that idea was born right here in my apartment.
It was.
So listen, man, I love you. I'm glad that you came over. I just have a couple of questions. Two more questions.
Fire away.
What is the greatest advice that you've ever been given as a comedian?
oh, this is such great advice, and it's such great life advice, but it's going to sound really horrible at first, but then I'll break it down. So the advice was from an improv comic that told me once when I was worried about something. He goes, "Hey, listen to this. I'm going to tell you it one time. Remember it for the rest of your life. Nobody cares about you." Once again, sounds morbid. Let me explain. He was saying it because in improv comedy, we were always freaking out. What if I say the thing that isn't funny? What if I don't accept the offer that this comedian gave me? What if I fuck up the scene? Blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about you. The people watching improv comedy they're so amazed that you're doing this on your feet without a script, that you're coming up with anything to say off the top of your head, that they are amazed by it. They don't care when you fuck up. And to me, that's life advice as well. Because when we're worried, like, oh my God, I'm wearing the same shirt that I wore yesterday to the comedy store. Oh, they're going to No, they won't. They don't care. They have their own lives. They care about their lives. As long as you don't impede their lives, they're going to have a positive thing to you. They're going to have a positive way of thinking about you. So yeah, nobody cares about you. Enjoy, laugh, love, be with the people that make you happy, but don't be caught up in the minutia of life that you think everyone cares about, because they don't. So yeah, that would be my best advice I've ever received in comedy.
I like it. You want to open up Machiavelli's The Prince? Read a paragraph before I ask you the last question?
Okay. Chapter 4, that's what you read. Alright, let's do... I'll do a part of the opening of chapter 8. It's not a paragraph, but it's yeah. But as there are still two ways of becoming prince, which cannot be attributed entirely either to fortune or to ability, they must not be passed over, although one of them could be more fully discussed if we were treating of republics. It's like reading in class. These are when one becomes prince by some nefarious or villainous means, or when a private citizen becomes the prince of his country through the favor of his fellow citizens. And in speaking of the former means, I will give two examples, one ancient, the other modern, without entering further into the merits of this method, as I judge them to be sufficient for any one obliged to imitate them. Agathocles? Agthocles?
It's always when you're reading something aloud on a recording that a word you don't...
Agathocles the Sicilian rose not only from private life, but from the lowest and most abject position to be king of Syracuse. The son of a potter, he led a life of the utmost wickedness through all the stages of his fortune. Nevertheless, his wickedness was accompanied by such vigor of mind and body that, having joined the militia, he rose through all the grades to be a praetor of Syracuse. I guess it's a big rank. All right, so there you go.
That's awesome. You're the only person I've ever met who said that was his favorite book.
Yeah, it's weird. There's a lot of people that will say like some motivational stuff, maybe some Malcolm Gladwell. I really enjoy Malcolm Gladwell, or maybe you have a lot of comedians on, they'll say like, I'm dying up here, or maybe like one of those books or something like that. But yeah, I always read The Prince and thought, this is great, which might be dangerous.
I'm going to start calling you The Prince.
Please do.
In closing, is there any words of wisdom or advice that you'd like to give to the people of the earth?
Oh, Jesus. God, nobody cares about you. That's a good one. If I had more time, I'd have written a shorter book. That's a good quote. Oh.
Some Brad Williams.
You know what? Here's this one. I heard this. Jay Moore told me this, and it kind of really helped me. He said, everything in your life happened exactly the way it did, whether you worried about it or not. And I remember that going, Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah. So all the things that you're scared about, being scared isn't going to change it. You go to that audition, you're like, oh God, what's it going to be? You worrying about it doesn't matter. It's going to happen the way it's going to happen. What's going to happen with my daughter? It's going to happen. Me worrying about it isn't going to change it. Now, me taking action and being proactive about certain things, that will change it. But worrying about stuff doesn't change a damn thing. So everything in your life happened exactly the way it did, whether you worried about it or not. That's my own personal advice to people.
That's some damn good advice.
Thank you, sir.
Brad, I hope you and I, hopefully, I know we'll both be as good of fathers as our fathers were. And
yeah, we will.
Hopefully one day my children will play with your children.
That'll be great. Look at that, and I'm gonna need that because the thing I hear from comedians so often is that they can't stand interacting with the parents of the kids that their kids are playing with because their parents are lame and they're boring and they're horrible. So I need a lot of comics to have some kids. Sarah Tiana's gonna give birth in February.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm very excited for that.
Wow.
So hopefully my daughter can grow up with her son. And they'll be friends because I love hanging out with Sarah. So hurry it up and have some kids, Tom Rhodes, so we can hang out together and I can have comedians over the house while we're watching the kids play. It'll be great because if I go to some birthday party with Bob from accounting, it's gonna suck the life out of me. So I need a bunch of comedians to have kids now. Get on it, Tom Rhodes.
You're a good man, Brad Williams.
Thank you, Tom.
Long may you run, brother.
Thanks, buddy.
Long may you run.
Tom Rhodes, you're a funny man. Tom Rhodes, you're an international comedian. Tom Rhodes, karate kick, baby, oh yeah. Tom Rhodes, you're a groovy dude. You go all around the world, telling jokes to all of the people. You are an international comedian. You're funny to everybody in every single country in the world. Tom Rhodes, I like you very much. I think you're talented and very wonderful. Tom Rhodes, you're the best guy in the world. I wanna be your friend. You should call me sometime. Here is my phone number, 603-644-0048. Yeah. Tom Rhodes, you're an international comedic sensation. Tom Rhodes, I like to listen to your podcast. Tom Rhodes, you're the best man to ever walk on the earth.